WMNH Rip the Knob Off.
That is Vultures. The band is Swarm, in all caps, by the way, from Texas. And we've got them with us on Skype. Hopefully everybody can hear each other. Hello, are you guys there?
Can you hear me?
Oh, awesome. Yes, I can. You guys hear me okay?
I hear you clear.
Beautiful, beautiful. I always get nervous when we're merging calls with Skype because, well, it's Skype and you know how that can go, but it looks like we were successful. Welcome, guys. Who do we have on the line with us? Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Parrish. I'm the singer of Swarm and also the original creator. And then we got Bats, our guitar player here.
Yep, I'm here. I'm Bats. I play the guitar.
All right, welcome. Hey, I love your sound. I have to say, so I feel like the genre of, I guess, industrial metal would be the term. I feel like there's not enough of it. I feel like there was a time when there were a lot of bands doing this, but I don't feel like there's that many around right now that are doing this. So when Jenny sent me you guys and said, you know, this is a guest that I've booked, I listened to these tracks and we're going to play another one at the end of our conversation. And I was just blown away. This is great stuff.
I really appreciate that a lot.
Do you guys kind of, where in Texas are you? Are you in Dallas?
We are.
Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Yeah, we've talked to a number of bands over the past couple of years from your area, but but they're always just like, metal, mostly just straight metal. So this industrial aspect is like I said, it's unusual. I mean, are there other bands in your area doing what you're doing, or do you guys really kind of stand out?
We're kind of the only industrial metal band here in DFW. We do have industrial acts here, which we do play a lot with and stuff. And we also cross genre and play with a lot of metal shows. But as far as like an actual industrial metal style band, we're pretty much the only one here in DFW.
Yep, it's just us.
Yeah. So I would imagine doing what you're doing, like you said, you play with a lot of industrial bands. You also play with a lot of metal bands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause you kind of fit in either way. Right.
Yeah.
When you play shows with, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Believe it or not, our actual first show as an actual band and not a solo project was a death metal concert.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
So in a scenario like that, how does the crowd react to it? I mean, even if they're trepidatious at first, I imagine you can win them over, but are people into it right from the onset, or is there a process of kind of winning people over because, you stand out a little bit, right? You're doing something a little different than what everybody else is doing.
So the first time that I performed, we performed with the death metal show, which was our first concert. I was very nervous, and I was like, these are a bunch of big metalhead dudes, and we're not up there ooh, Cookie Monster, So it's not, we're not quite that heavy. So I was kind of scared how they were going to take to it. But to be quite honest with you, as soon as we got going, I guess people were just happy to hear, more metal, and different kinds of metal. And I've been noticing, a lot of the shows here lately have been cross genre, as far as different types of metal. We're very blessed here in DFW to have the scene that we have, and a lot of understanding people who just have a knack for different kinds of music and different types of metal, so it's been a definite blessing. We've had we've gotten to play with a lot of different metal bands and different types of metal acts, and we've played with a lot of different types of industrial acts. So it's gotten kind of the best of both worlds. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
We do.
That's excellent. Paris, you mentioned you started the project.
Yeah. So originally I was in a synth pop band.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, wow.
And I wanted to do something that was completely opposite, just unfriendly, mean, heavy, and broody sounding. So during the COVID time, lockdowns and everything, I just I had a lot of time off work, so I just sat there and started creating a different sound palette and coming up with the Swarm sound, and then I got a show that I had to fill in for my other band because my singer was sick, and I was scared to death because it was just me and a bunch of synthesizers. And, I got up on stage and performed nervous as heck, it can be. And everybody was feeling it. And I was just so impressed. And I got off stage, and next thing you know, I had more offers for shows, and I was time to make this a band, So I started reaching out, and, we went through some lineup changes, and Bats here, he's been one of the most long-term members we've had so far in the band. Definitely a keeper, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And
Good.
He's really added a lot to the heaviness factor, and he's got a lot of new metal influences. So
yeah,
it brought us into a whole new genre, where we're not even just we're catering to so many different genres, because each one of us has our own different music taste, and we all bring it to the table,
Yeah, that's great. And Bats, I assume you played in other bands before Swarm?
Oh, yes. I played in multiple bands. I'm originally from the New York, New Jersey area.
Oh, okay.
So I was part of that metalcore scene back in the early 2000s, and when I moved down here, I didn't play for a while, and then I saw a Facebook ad with this guy a year and a half ago, and I was like, you know what? I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I reached out, sent him a video, and he was like, you're in, buddy boy.
What was it that, so you're from the Northeast. So what was it that brought you to Dallas?
Oh, it was during the 2009 during the recession, and this is where the jobs were.
Yep. Yep. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, and it worked out musically for you. That's for sure.
It really did. It took almost 14 years, but finally landed a real nice gig with Swarm, and I wouldn't want to be in any other band. It's probably the best band I've ever been in. I've been in a lot of bands, and it's just the camaraderie, just even the musical talent. Like Parrish was saying, all four of us, we all have different musical taste, and we all bring it in together, and it comes out. Like we have new metal, we have industrial, we have hardcore, and it just all comes together.
Yeah.
Because
go. Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to add to that. Yeah. So, like I come from the hardcore punk scene, and, I didn't get into industrial until like 3 years ago. So it's still all new to me,
Wow.
But, yeah, we're a big old melting pot.
No, that's great. Whoops, I didn't mean to play that yet. Sorry. we are going to play that. You probably recognized it. Just making sure it's loaded up and ready, and I accidentally started playing it. Little sneak preview of Perdition, another great track. But now, so who else is in the band with you, and what does everybody do? Like, do you have a live drummer, or how does that work?
So we have struggled with the drummer position in our band. We use, and we're industrial, so we do a lot of programmed distorted drums and modified drums and stuff. So we started off with a drummer, and he was great, but we had to part ways with him due to health reasons. He was a little bit of an older gentleman. We love him to death. Dean, if you're hearing this, we love you, bro.
Yeah,
but we had to part ways, and then we've just kind of struggled with it. And then we added Jermaine, who plays synthesizers and does all the drum machine work for us and everything. And addition to him, and he adds so much energy back there. Just having him on stage, we just kind of decided not to have a drummer. We may in the future add one, but as of right now, we just run our drum machines and stuff. But definitely if we find somebody, they gotta jive with us, because we're all best friends, and it's kind of a plus, that we all get along as good as we do. But at the same time, it's a curse, because we definitely want somebody who can fit with us, because we spend a lot of time together, and it makes sense, at the end of the day.
Yeah. But it's great that you have a project where you don't necessarily need a drummer. I mean, when you're doing something, heavy and aggressive, industrial is the one sort of zone of that where you can, not necessarily have a drummer. And I know that, and this seems to be universal, because whether I talk to somebody from Dallas or whether somebody from the local area up here or whomever it is, drummers seem to be the hardest to find. And
they really are.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they play in like 12 different bands.
Yes.
They're 20 different bands.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory about that. I think what happens is, when you're growing up and you want to start playing a musical instrument, when you have to go have the conversation with your parents about, I want to play, and here's what I want to play. That and drums and maybe the tuba are the two instruments where they're going to actively try to talk you out of, nobody wants, no parents want, drums in their, unless they live in an area where there's no neighbors, and you know what I mean? So that's my theory about why drummers are in such high demand, and there seems to be so few of them.
Oh yeah. It's definitely been a challenge. And we've tried a few different guys out, and it's just styles didn't match and stuff of that nature. So, we're not actively looking for anybody. We personally feel that the right person will come our way, and we'll just know,
And then when it comes to bass, Vinny Steele, our bass player, that guy is a show in himself. Even if we didn't play, you can put Vinny there with him and his bass, and it would be a show, and people would pay to play to see it.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, he's a monster on stage, and he comes from the hardcore scene too.
Oh,
so he'll be on stage hardcore dancing and throwing his bass around, and just he's something to see for sure.
He can play that bass, like our one song Heartworm. We'll be playing it. He will punch the notes in, literally punch his guitar and still keep playing the song.
Wow. Well, I'm a bass player myself, so I have to tell you, I really admire that. I'll have to. Are there videos online, like on YouTube? Are there videos of you guys playing live?
Yes.
Yes,
Cool.
we do have those. It's a swarm_DTX.
Okay.
And we have a lot of live videos up. Some actual full shows of us even.
Oh, I'm gonna check.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on good old TikTok.
Okay. Very good. So I'm curious too about the name. Where does the name come from, and why is it in all caps? And is there any particular significance to that?
So when I originally started this project, it didn't have a name, and I quickly just like I wanted something that fit the sound, and I did like a lot of grainy synths that kind of reminded me of like insects buzzing and stuff. So that was kind of like the whole like aspect of it. And then like, a lot of my songs are like, anti-government and anti this and anti that. So it's like we swarm, to stuff. And, it's like, I don't know, just kind of fit. And as far as the all caps is concerned, I think that's just the way the logo shaped up. It's really not in all caps, but it's be honest with you, that's never been discussed before. You've opened a new discussion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All caps. It's not abbreviations or anything like that. It's
it's funny because there's some bands too that for whatever reason just get spelled in all caps for no apparent reason. Like I'm a Kiss fan. My favorite band is Kiss, but you'll often see Kiss written in all caps, even though it doesn't stand for anything. Or Rush is another example. You'll often see Rush written in all caps for no apparent reason. It's just people just write it that way, It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the way that our logo is drawn. Yeah, it's in all caps, which I designed it myself, so that might have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Now, what about the live show? Because obviously the music that you're doing and the style, it lends itself to, I mean, do you have any kind of production going on or any kind of stage effects? Or maybe you don't need that with your bass player, who's apparently very energetic on stage. But I mean, does anything do you have like a projection screen or anything like that?
So we are very we have some of the best venues here in DFW, and most of them like offer like full light shows and everything.
Really?
And yeah, we've got like if you ever are in town, check out Haltom Theater. Like I recommend it, and you got to get a hot dog while you're there. But it's a great place, and as far as we've been spoiled, like I'm not even gonna lie, we started off. Our old drummer, when we had our drummer, he had a lot of lighting rigs and lasers, and it was cool looking. But we kind of let that go because, setting all that stuff up on these shows, you only got so much time on stage, and we never really sat down and perfected that aspect of it. So we've been kind of running bare bones, but it's definitely stuff that we've been talking about adding. Like we just recently, I started incorporating a mask on certain songs that I wear.
Yeah.
It just fits the songs. And we have a song called Heartworm where I wear it and stuff. So we're definitely getting to the point where we are about to start investing a little bit more in the actual scenery on stage and stuff. So,
Yeah.
And, one thing we do is like I move around a lot. And Jermaine, Bloodied, he's in the back with the synth. He moves around a lot too. He is constantly moving, and Vince is constantly moving, and Parrish is moving. There's a lot going on stage, even without the lighting.
Yeah.
But like Parrish was saying, we're gonna start adding those up, some banners, because I don't use an amp. I actually plug in directly with an amp modeler.
Oh, no kidding.
So set up, I could be on stage in 2 minutes or less. Plug in, XLR, done. Same thing with Vinny Steele.
I'll bet other bands that you play with love you for that too. That and the lack of a drummer. I bet other bands that you play with love you for that, because I just know from my own experience, like there's nothing worse than, waiting for, when you got a bunch of bands on a show. And I also used to promote a lot of shows, and it's like there's nothing worse than when you're waiting for bands to set up and they're taking forever. Even worse when, like, if you're following a band and you're waiting to get on stage and they're taking forever to break everything down. But it sounds like you guys must be super efficient with that. I would imagine with the way that you approach your setup.
Oh yeah,
we can set up in about 8 minutes, the whole band.
No kidding.
Yeah. Now we do take the drum riser up though. We put Jermaine up there, and he has his whole synth station set up and everything.
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible. I don't know if you've ever seen Skinny Puppy live, but it's kind of, like Kevin Keys has a setup. It's monstrous. I got to see their last show, which was also my first time seeing them, and it was so just to see his rig up there. And that's kind of how we run. He has his big setup up there. He kind of overtowers us, and he's just back there and just throwing so much energy out into the crowd. It's unreal.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Do you guys have any music videos? Have you made any videos that you've posted other than, you mentioned there's live performances, but have you produced any videos?
We have not yet. We're actually about to start getting into that. We have a song called Heartworm that we're, when Heartworm was originally written, it was with a lot of different members besides me and Billy. Mm-hmm. So we're going to amp that song, and we're going to be releasing a new EP with that and a couple of other new songs on it, and a cover of Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff.
Oh, oh, that's cool. I used to be in a band that we would cover that song.
Yeah,
you outed my name, Parrish.
Do what?
You said Billy. You outed me.
Oh no, bats. Sorry.
Oops.
It's okay. Everybody knows me. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. There you go. Break Stuff is a fun song to play. I was in a band called The Jinxed, and we used to cover that song. And our singer, Rhino, he would like turn purple during the breakdown part. He would get so intense and like much more intense than Fred Durst ever did, from what I've seen. I mean, Ryan would just turn red, like he was so into it. That's a fun song.
We joked about it for the longest because we play with a lot of metal bands, and everybody wants to talk smack about Limp Bizkit, not take them seriously and stuff. And I was like, man, I don't care. I grew up listening to all different kinds of music, and I mean, when you're at a party, and you're in your young teens back then, you partied your butt off listening to Limp Bizkit. Everybody did. So we just doing it as a cover for the longest, and we unveiled it at like an all metal show the first time we ever did it, and people absolutely lost their mind. Like especially when it pauses and it goes to give me something to break part, like everyone started hopping. I was like, "Yep, we're going to be doing this song for a while now."
Oh, yeah.
We have video of that. We have full video of that on our TikTok, the full version of that.
Oh,
and you can even see my wife tried to start a mosh pit during it. It was great.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's great. You guys do any other covers in this project?
We do. We try to incorporate one cover into our every live set we do. So we have a cover of Heresy by 9 Inch Nails that we play, and It's like really heavy, and got the double bass in it and everything. And we're working on a cover of Turn Me Loose by Loverboy, actually.
No kidding. Oh, that's cool. That's fun. I like that. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Where do you guys record? Because there's so many different ways to record music now.
I actually, believe it or not, I handle all the recording at home. Our next EP is going to actually be the first studio, like in a actual studio setting. I'm gonna have an audio engineer do all the mixing and mastering, because I ain't gonna lie, I hate doing mixing and mastering.
Yeah.
So we're gonna outsource it this go around and get everything nice and polished up and do actual physicals of it and everything, which we'll have available on our website. I'd expect it to be complete probably or towards 2025.
Okay. So you say physical, so you're gonna actually put it out on a CD as well?
Yeah. CD, probably cassettes available.
Cassettes. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. It's been a topic of discussion on the show for a long time. I remember it must have been 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer. I was on Bandcamp looking for bands and bandcamp.com. And I still remember vividly the moment where I saw that there were artists in this area who were putting out things on cassette. And the first one I stumbled upon, I was like, is this real? And then I realized there were a bunch of artists doing it. I was like, oh my God, cassettes are back. I never saw that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not, that actually comes from your younger audience. So I go to a lot of punk shows and a lot of more obscure shows, and that's kind of where you'll see the cassette tape set.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was shocked the first time I went. I went to this venue called Kiki's House, and there was an industrial group from California called the Diesel Dudes play, and then they had cassette tapes, and I was like, "What is this?" And so I had to buy one,
Yeah.
And, I listen to it regularly. Like it's definitely a regular play for me.
That's wild. When you got that cassette, did you have something to play it on, or did you have to get something to play it on?
I had to go. I went to a thrift store and bought like an old ghetto blaster.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been using.
Oh, don't let him kid you. He's got a Hello Kitty one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's interesting how one of the things that I find interesting about just getting older is seeing over time how these things change and what goes away and what remains, and sometimes what you think is going to go away or did go away ends up coming back, and sometimes things that you thought would never go away do go away, in terms of technology. And I used to work for, I left there in 2013. I used to work for a national chain that sold CDs, and I remember everybody talking about, even back then, any day now, CDs are just going to be gone. There's going to be no more CDs. But even today, here it is, 2024. People still buy CDs. People still want physical media. I mean, it's a lot less than it used to be, but people still buy it.
Me personally, I'm at a show. If I hear a new band that I really want, as an artist, I understand that these guys aren't making big money off of these Spotify streams.
Right. We make so much money off Spotify.
So
Thanks.
To me, I feel the ultimate compliment that you can give an artist when you see them live is actually purchasing their music from them, because you're paying them way more for an album than what Spotify is giving them. And not to have like a memory there in your hand, you can pull it up and be like, man, I remember when I bought this. That was a cool show. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole CD collection at my house, and it's nothing but local music and DFW bands. And, I always try to pick up, my favorite band's new release and stuff when they drop something new and whatnot,
No, that's great. No, I commend you for that. And that's such an important point that you brought up about, if you're going to support local artists, buy their stuff, because Spotify streams. In fact, Spotify, you guys probably know this already, but I guess recently they've changed it. So now if you're under a certain threshold, they're just not going to pay you anything. And granted, it was only pennies anyway, but so it's so important to support local music.
Yeah, we were the only thing that saved us is we have a remix out by Xavier from Three Teeth, another well-known industrial metal band. Yeah, and that's kind of been the only thing pushing us, is that we have that out there. So it's definitely been a blessing.
How did that come about?
Interesting story, actually. I met him in a chat that wasn't even related to their band. I didn't even know about their band. It was Access Virus Form, which is a synthesizer I use, and I commented on a post of his because he had showed a picture of his rig, and I asked him a couple of questions about his synth because I was still learning it. He gave me some real good information on it and everything, and we just kind of started talking back and forth, and he told me he was in a band, and I was like, really? And he told me, I was like, yeah, we're doing pretty good. And he sent me a copy of music, and I was like, wow. And for me, that was the thing that really got me to want to do industrial, was those guys. And when we started kind of getting a little bit more traction, I was like, man, let's get a remix done. And I was nervous. I wrote him, and I was like, hey, man, you want to do a remix for us? And I was surprised he told me he would do it. And, it was pretty cool actually. Like it's been pretty. So he made us a club remix. It was great.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, good for you guys. That's great. So what's kind of the trajectory? You've got do you have anything coming up as far as new music? Obviously we're going to play another track in a moment, but what should we know about what does the future hold for you guys in the short term or the long term?
We do have new music coming up. We definitely do have music coming up. We got some things in the pipe right now we've recorded, and that's going to be coming soon.
Excellent.
Yeah, stay out there looking for that Street Sweeper song when we release it. It's gonna be a heavy one too. It's bad.
Very cool. Well, please send it to us when it's ready too. We'll play it here, and we'll definitely have to have you guys back. I love what you're doing. Like I said, I feel like there's not enough industrial metal, and it's this stuff is great. I really love it. And what should people know about how to find you guys online to keep up with everything that you're doing?
I'll let Billy handle that one. He's the social media guru.
Well, you can go on our website, www.swarmdtx.com. You can see all our shows on there. We have pictures. We got Spotify to go to. We also have Facebook. Just put in Swarm Dallas. You'll find us.
Okay.
We're on Instagram, Swarm_DTX on Instagram. And on Facebook, we are official Swarm Band on TikTok. You just put that in and we'll pop up.
Excellent. What is the significance of DTX, by the way? I have a feeling D is for Dallas, but
it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
if any of y'all in Dallas, Texas next weekend, we're playing a really awesome show. We're gonna be playing Vulgar Fest at Haltom Theater with our friends in Vivid and Vulgar and Manifestive and Boris. It's going to be a really good show. Hey, y'all should definitely come out.
Very cool. And thank you both so much, Parrish and Bats. This has been great. I really enjoyed talking with you guys. Like I said, I love your music. We're gonna end this track with this track, Perdition. Anything we should know about this song? I do like the title.
So the song was actually written. I'm not gonna say no names, but
okay.
If anyone's ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, it's kind of about getting away from that and just how much they can just drag you down, and it's kind of what the song's about, basically.
Okay, well, it's relatable. Everyone's been in that situation at one point or another. So great. So we're gonna give this a listen. Guys, thank you so much. Really loved having you on the show. And you've got new music coming, so we will definitely do this again in the not too distant future. But and we're going to play this track. But I really appreciate you guys joining us today. Thank you both so much.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, that was Parrish and Parrish and Bats. See, now I'm doing it. From the band Swarm. And check this out. We're going to listen to this, and then we're going to come back, and we've got a little bit more show to go. So I've got one last thing to share with you all today afterward. But give this a spin. Give this a listen. I'm going to give it a spin. You give it a listen. This is called Perdition, and the band is Swarm.
So predictable, crawling under your skin. So pathetic, miserable, it eats you from within. Can't cover this up anymore, there's nothing left to prove. I am everything you hate, I am the devil. I want to live in that mansion on a hill where no pain or suffering lie. I want to live in that mansion on a hill where only happiness dwells. I don't want to see behind those walls. I don't want to learn if there's pain or sorrow. I don't want to know if that house is a home. I just want to live in that mansion on a hill. I don't want to hear the words spoken behind closed doors. I don't want to feel the anger towards others. I don't want to know if love lives in that home. I just want to live in that mansion on a hill. I want to live in that mansion on a hill where no pain or suffering lie. I want to live in that mansion on a hill where only happiness dwells.
I love that song. I love the vocals on that. That is Cameron Sutphin, Mansion on the Hill. And if you are just joining us here on Matt Connarton Unleashed, Cameron was our guest in the first hour of the program today. So, yeah, really enjoyed talking with him. He played live for us in studio. Just amazing, amazing. Really, really nice guy, too. So that was Mansion on the Hill. That's probably my personal favorite song from his debut album called Part of Me. And before that, of course, we heard Perdition, one of the tracks from Swarm from Dallas, Texas. And we had Parrish and Bats on the show with us via Skype all the way from Dallas. And I really loved talking with those guys. I thought that was a pretty interesting discussion and great to get their perspective on a number of things and learn about the history of the band. And I love their sound. I love what they're doing. Like I said, I don't feel like there's a lot of industrial metal. There's probably a lot more than I realize, and I just don't realize it because I haven't looked for it, which shame on me, because the internet makes it very easy to find and explore all kinds of music that I might not be aware of, that you might not be aware of. So, but I really enjoyed talking with them. If you did miss any part of today's show too, I do suggest you go back and check it out. Like I said, we had Cameron Sutphin on with us in the first hour, and second hour, we had Sophia Galani Skyping in from the UK. And then we had Audrey Queen and Draven DC from the band Bullet to the Heart Skyping in from Chicago. So it's been a very, very busy show today. By the way, next week on the show, so Jenny will be back next week, by the way. So we look forward to that. And we've got Tom Russo returning to the program. Tom's been on with us a couple of times. Next week, though, we're going to do something different. It's going to involve writing a song live on the air, and it's going to involve some audience participation. So that's all I'm going to say about it. A little bit of a teaser for you, but Tom Russo will be with Jenny and I here on the show next week, and really looking forward to that. And I love his music anyway. Always get a lot of great feedback when he's on. But yeah, we're going to do something a little different, little innovative. It was his idea, and I said, yes, I like that very much. So that will be next week on the program. By the way, and I do have something to talk about in our remaining moments on today's program. But I'm also going to open up the phone line too, if you want to give us a buzz, if you happen to be listening live on Saturday, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You might have some thoughts on this subject. But something that we talk about a lot on the program is AI, artificial intelligence, and how it affects the music industry and how the music industry is kind of maneuvering through this. And I think the last time that we talked about it on the show a number of weeks ago, Jenny and I were talking about these, I think it was Universal Music Group is threatening these AI companies for allowing these LLMs, large learning models that basically take in all this information and then they're able to spit out whatever it is that you prompt them to do. If you've used ChatGPT at all, for example, you can put in a prompt, ask it to create something for you, and it will, just as an example. But there's a lot of concerns and a lot of hands wringing over how this affects the music industry going forward, and a lot of different ideas and thoughts and concerns and worries. And some of it I think is concerning, and some of it I think, I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it myself. Now, at the end of the day, to be clear, I will always advocate on behalf of artists. That's where I come from, and I want artists to be compensated for their work, and I don't want their work to be stolen and so forth. But I'm also not sure how, in a practical sense, as we move into this new realm of AI and in the music industry, I'm not sure how that all works. So, and I don't think anyone really is sure. But there's an article from The Verge, which is a great site, by the way, if you're interested in these subjects, theverge.com, that kind of gets us up to speed on where we are with all of this. There's a lot of lawsuits and threats of lawsuits, and Congress, perhaps shall make laws at some point. And I always cringe at that because whenever Congress makes laws regarding technology, if you watch any congressional hearing on anything involving technology, you can kind of figure out pretty quickly that a lot of these Congress people have no idea what they're talking about, but they're going to vote. They're going to make laws on these things. Anyway, just go on YouTube and, for example, you can look up Mark Zuckerberg testifying before Congress, before a congressional committee, and here are the questions that he is asked, by these, whether it's a House Congressional Committee or a Senate committee. And you'll realize very quickly that the people who are discussing this and making these laws have no idea what they're doing, because they have no idea what they're talking about. Because, 90-year-old Chuck Grassley, although I give him credit, he seems to be very familiar with Twitter, but, do I want him making laws? Not to be ageist, but anyway, but we won't go too far in that direction. But so The Verge, .com has this updated article, The Music Industry's AI Fight. Let's look at this just briefly. We only have a little bit of time left today, but it is a fascinating subject. And if, obviously at this point, because of the way that the show is constructed and the content that we present and all these interviews and whatnot, we talk to a lot of musicians. So we assume a lot of people who are active in the music industry are listening to this program and are probably also interested in the subject. But so here's what this article, again, we'll just spend a few minutes on this, has to say. Again, this is from theverge.com. Surely you've heard Mariah Carey's holiday smash hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You, but have you heard about this other song? It's also called All I Want for Christmas Is You, and it sounds a lot like Mariah Carey. We're about to spend a long time litigating how that happened. Oh, you know what? This isn't the article I wanted. I'm sorry. Wait, let me find... Let's go with, yeah. Let's go with this one from NBCnews.com. So this relates to the story that we were talking about recently. U.S. record labels are suing AI music generators alleging copyright infringement. Universal Music Group, and that was the lawsuit that we had talked about, Jenny and I had talked about on the show a number of weeks ago, or it might have been a couple of months ago. I'm not sure. But now Sony Music and Warner Music are also now filing lawsuits against companies like Suno and Udio Maker about this, about using their intellectual property. So in other words, these AI companies are using the music, the intellectual property of the artists that these record labels represent. These AI companies are, if you think of it as, sucking up all of that information. I don't think the technical term is sucking up, but sucking up all that information and then being able to, say, okay, if you tell the AI model, okay, make me a song in the style of All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. And I hate that song, by the way. But does anyone actually like it? I've never heard it. I mean, it's ubiquitous during the holidays, but I've never heard anyone say, oh, I love that song, or I can't wait to hear that song. Ugh. But anyway, so you can prompt it, make me this, and it'll make you this based on the work of all these artists and their information that's been fed into a large learning model. And they call it that because it learns, it uses all this information to learn how to create these things. So let's look at this for a quick update. So this is from NBCnews.com. The world's biggest record labels are teaming up to take two prominent AI music making companies to court, a move that comes as generative artificial intelligence continues to infiltrate the music industry. Universal Music Group, Sony Music Entertainment, and Warner Music Group, among others, filed lawsuits against Suno and Udio maker Uncharted Labs, both of which recently released AI programs that enable users to generate songs from text prompts. And by the way, one of these weeks, if we have a week where we have an hour where we don't have a guest, I think it would be fun to try one of these services out live on the air and see what it comes up with. I just think it would be interesting. It says here, the proliferation of accessible AI tools capable of generating realistic music, including full songs using AI versions of real artists' voices, has triggered a slew of legal and ethical questions for the music industry. Many artists have expressed concern over how generative AI technologies could undermine human work and compensation. Now, when Jenny and I talked about this before, and again, in the end, I will always advocate on behalf of artists, but plain devil's advocate. If I write a song, I'm a musician, I've written some songs. If I write a song or create anything musical, maybe just write a guitar riff, whatever it is, isn't whatever I write, isn't whatever I choose to create somehow influenced and informed by all of the music that I've heard up to that point that I write that song? So how is that any different from an AI model that has fed all of this information and then creates something? Now, obviously, with the AI model, you're taking the humanity out of it, and you're potentially harming people who make their livings creating music, right? Doing the manual labor of creating music. But again, if you want to argue the other side of it, you can say, well, how is that any different than a human who creates music, who is influenced by everything that they hear? I mean, that's why sort of plagiarism happens, right? We've done on Friday nights, of course, I'm a co-host on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And we've done several shows. I should plug that too. Friday nights from 8 to 11 p.m. here on WMNH. I always love my Friday nights with Paulie C. DJ Steve, and sometimes Tony Petrello joins us. But we've done several shows now about plagiarism, where people have plagiarized other people's music or are accused of doing such. So, but to me, that's an example of how everything that we create is already influenced and informed by everything that we know up to that point. So how is this different? I'm not saying it's not different. I'm just, again, I'm playing devil's advocate and just asking the question, because regardless of how any of us might feel about it from a principled standpoint and a human standpoint, of course, there's also, if you're going to make laws about this, or if there's going to be litigation, which there is about this, you also have to navigate how you approach this from a practical and pragmatic standpoint. And that's not as simple as, you can't navigate that by just saying, well, I feel that this is wrong, or I'm uncomfortable with this. There has to be a logical foundation that everyone can sort of agree on moving forward. So, and time is short, but coordinated by the Recording Industry Association of America, the music recording industry's largest trade organization, the RIAA. By the way, that's the organization that also certifies albums as being gold or platinum. Whenever you see a musician posing with a picture of a platinum album, we've all seen those pictures, right? Those are issued by the RIAA. Fun fact that not everyone might know, the artist has to pay for that, has to pay for the certification. There's a fee. They don't just automatically certify albums. And then, when everybody in the band gets their gold record or their platinum record that they pose with in those pictures, that they have to pay for that. They're not just given those by the RIAA. Everybody in the band, the producer, and whoever else. RIAA Chairman and CEO Mitch Glazier said in a statement, quote, "The music community has embraced AI, and we are already partnering and collaborating with responsible developers to build maintainable AI tools centered on human creativity that put artists and songwriters in charge. But we can only succeed if developers are willing to work together with us. Unlicensed services like Suno and Udio that claim it's fair to copy an artist's life's work and exploit it for their own profit without consent or pay set back the promise of genuinely innovative AI for us all," unquote. The music labels allege in the lawsuits that building services like Suno or Udio requires, quote, "copying decades worth of the world's most popular sound recordings," unquote, in order to train their models, and that both AI companies have been deliberately evasive about what exactly they used to train those models. But it's obvious what their music generators were trained on, according to the lawsuits. Their models could only succeed in producing such realistic songs, the suits stated, if they had been trained on, quote, "vast quantities of sound recordings from artists across every genre, style, and era," unquote, many of which remain copyrighted by these record labels. Neither Suno nor Udio has publicly disclosed its training data. Both charge tiered monthly membership fees for those who wish to use their AI music generators at higher capacity. Representatives for Suno did not immediately respond to requests for comment. When asked for comment, Udio directed NBC News to a blog post stating that the company is, quote, "completely uninterested in reproducing content in our training set and, in fact, have implemented and continue to refine state-of-the-art filters to ensure our model does not reproduce copyrighted works or artists' voices. We stand behind our technology and believe that generative AI will become a mainstay of modern society," unquote. So Udio says, we're not doing that. And it is hard to prove a negative, right? To prove that you're not doing something. There's a lot more to this. It's a big subject, but we are out of time. So we'll wrap up. We will leave it on that, but I'm sure this is something that we'll be talking about from time to time on the program as we move forward. So again, thank you to everyone who joined us today. If you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnarton.com. Jenny will be back next week. Tom Russo will be with us. And I'm going to leave you with a little bit. We won't have time to fit the whole thing in, but we've played it a few times throughout the show. Hope the Rapper, his brand new single, Heavenly Father, as we continue our 10 weeks of new singles from Hope the Rapper. Every week for 10 weeks, a world radio premiere of a brand new track from Hope the Rapper. And we're in week 5. So here it is, Heavenly Father, to close out this week's Matt Connarton Unleashed. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
You know it's different once the chorus comes in. There's 4 letters to the name. H-O-P
I ain't grow up in the hood, but I'm good there. Try to walk in my shoes, not the good pair. Still ball on an and one. I'm the father of the game, understand, son. Move with the work, sorta like a tandem. I'm about to take the rap game for ransom. Different meetings when we greet him and say hands up. Kill pen game, Charles Manson. Who done gave a boy pen? Don't you know that she spin? I'm just trying to touch the world. Paper is my middleman. Mama said no Ritalin. They gon' knock the way you think. I was trying to find some hope. Thought I found it in a drink. Paper problems on my plate. Trying to get them in a sink. Whole time I was killing beats. Told them I was innocent. Still about a dollar. Only if it's making sense. Trying to get this money straight. Just to buy a Benz. All of this drive like I'm a chauffeur. Can't count the times I came from cold shoulders. Hand me the rock the weak and make bolder. My circle per squared like PlayStation controller. Hold up, they pray that I retire, but I got it. Feel like Trump when I spent 5, build a wall around the profit. Call it how you want it, I'ma treat 'em how